I hope everybody's feeling good today. I hope you're feeling awfully black and proud and intelligent and capable and everything else. But I wanted to really sort of break down the difference between symbolism and substance, and really talk to you about some real economic facts, things that you really should know about as well, particularly as it relates to what's happening in this economy and also what's going to happen to those who remain asleep during this economy. There are some people who are asleep, some people who are 100% woke, and I'll explain what that means in a minute. Um, yeah, so what Morgan Stanley warned about was something that's happening in the economy that's probably going to get worse. And this thing that they talked about was something called a jobless recovery or either a jobless expansion or a jobless growth. And what I want you to um, understand as we explain this and how this jobless growth thing works. First off, I'm going to show you one of the biggest pieces of evidence that you do already have this happening. If you go look at the net worth of Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and how much they were worth 10 years ago versus how much they're worth now, you would see this massive growth in their net worth. Mark Zuckerberg worth probably $100 billion more than what he was 10 years ago. But if you go look at the average American worker, how many of you know? Give me a yes if you know that minimum wage has barely budged. Give me a yes if you noticed that. Give me a yes if you've noticed that pay raises really aren't that strong. They want to make sure you get enough to survive so that you don't die, in between shifts. But for the most part, they're not really out here fighting to make sure workers get what they're owed and everything else, right? And so what's really occurred, and this is going to lead to my second point that I'm going to make, which I know it's always controversial when I talk about politics and voting, but I just don't give a damn because you got it. You're gonna either you're gonna learn today, and if you don't learn today, you're gonna learn tomorrow. But anyway, what's happening is basically what Morgan Stanley warned about is they said you're no longer in the regime where you could look at things like gross domestic product or the state of the economy and get a sense of how the average American citizen is doing. That there is a detachment, there's a disentanglement between the fate of the American worker and the fate of the American economy. So basically, what can happen is you can have a massive, 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 massive economic expansion that misses 80% of the population, right? And he was right. He was drawn up in mathematically, these equations. And I looked at it. I remember saying, I said, okay, so what you're saying based on this math is you're saying that you can have a situation where literally one guy has all the wealth and 99% of the people are poor. Clearly, you're going to have one really obese kid and you're gonna have two little starving skinny kids looking like they on an infomercial, right? And somebody says, "Hey, clearly everybody in the house is doing better because they got 9 cheeseburgers now instead of just three, so everybody's eating good." Well, that doesn't actually apply if there's no rules of distribution. But here's the problem: the government isn't a government anymore. So ultimately, this is American society. This is the direction that it's going. So the point of the matter is to say that this imbalance is what's created the economic problems that you're about to see now.